There is something about music in Nigeria. It comes with various colorings, artistic input and all. Today on Music Makers, we go visiting Jos, capital of Plateau State in northern Nigeria. The station is Voice of Nigeria, and Music Makers is where artists come and share their life stories and creative works with us. My name is Glory OHAGWU. In a moment, my guest will be ready to roll. Stay tuned. From the north to the south, from the east to the west, this song ruled the airwaves. Even those who never understood what it meant danced to the tune and tried to mimic what the artist was saying. The song is simply titled Nabaka. Enjoy it. I love the song. Today I have the creative owner and incidentally the producer of the song, and he's here to share his story. So let's get to meet him.
My name is Jeremiah Gyang. I hail from Jos in Plateau State, Nigeria, and I'm the first child of 7 children, and then we also have a stepmother as well. My father and my mother are late. My stepmom is alive. I met my wife, Ladi, when I was 15 years old. I was in church playing the keyboard and she walked in and I saw her and I was like, wow, this girl is just so beautiful. And I told myself I was going to marry her, and it happened. She's blessed me with a very beautiful daughter. Growing up was not easy, but it was fun as well. It was very musical, very playful, very serious as well. My dad was tough. My dad was a musician as well. Among other things, he studied music in America, came back to Nigeria, and he had a band in the 70s called the Soul Winners Band. That was before I was born. I came to Earth in the 80s and found that he already created a very solid platform and a pedigree of music. I watched him play musical instruments, and a lot of times I would kneel down behind him, and he was a very strict, very African father who felt I was too young to touch musical instruments, which is kind of different from what is attainable today, where parents are always trying to push their kids to play different instruments. I would watch my dad and then I would memorize almost everything he would play. So one day one of his friends came to the house and insisted he wanted me to play as well. And then my dad let me play. He was really skeptical. And then I actually really started playing exactly all the stuff he was playing. And then after one, I would shift to the other. And then I played a couple of songs exactly to the T, the way he plays them, as having never ever placed my finger on the keyboard. My dad was impressed, and he actually let me play the keyboard from time to time. He became a little less strict in terms of musical things. So that's how growing up was.
Let's know the schools you attended.
I went, first of all, to St. Rita's Primary School in Vom. And then I also went to Equa Staff School as a kid. And then I moved to Kitty Joy. And I finished Kitty Joy Primary School to Boys Secondary School, Gindri. That's in 92.
That's still in Plateau State?
Yes. So my stay there wasn't very successful because I went with a guitar and then there was a lot of seniority and then I was always dodging. So I was transferred to GSS Gangari, a government school, because we had a lot of conflicts with my dad because of me not staying in classes. And then the economy of the family started collapsing when I came to GSS Gangari. So that's how I dropped out from secondary school in JSS 2. But I was already an established producer. I was producing and making money to pay the school fees of some of my younger ones at that point and to feed the family as well.
Did you ever go back?
No, never. But I'm very educated. I haven't gone back yet, but I intend to go back really soon. It's part of my plan. It's part of my agenda. But right now, my objective is to take my music to another place first.
Wow, that's some touching story.
Yeah.
You've already told us that music started watching your father, but how did it evolve from watching to producing?
The days of watching were pretty much the days of primary school and the days of learning the rudimentary stuff. By the time I was in JS1, I was already a producer. So in 1992, I was already making money. Yeah, I wasn't a singer, but I was a really good songwriter already. I started writing songs when I was 6 years. I still remember my first song.
When did you write Nabaka? What does it mean?
Nabaka means I give you. It was in Abuja in 2003 that I wrote Nabaka.
It made you very popular.
I didn't know how that happened, and I wasn't even expecting it. So part of the reasons why I wasn't really very successful as an artist in the beginning is because when the success came, I was really young. I was not prepared for it. The way life is designed, you have to have an objective. I had no objective whatsoever. You need to have an agenda. When you go out into the playing field, you need to have a strategy to win something. And then the political aspects of music, I actually really did not pay attention to. So I made so many bad decisions that eventually affected me.
Tell us about Just.
Beautiful.
Close your eyes through the mind of a child, a growing child. Take us with you to Just.
I actually don't need to do that because that's how I live every day practically. So
I'm sure between then and now, things have changed.
Not so much has changed. The people are pretty much still the same. A little bit more aware, but still the same people. They're still very hospitable, very nice, friendly, accommodating as well. And then the topography is really beautiful. It's breathtaking. Every single time you're entering Jos, you're going to see a huge arrangement of hills and mountains continuously. And then minutes later, all those mountains are going to disappear. Do you know why? No. Because you are now atop the mountains. Realize that these mountains I see, those are Jos. And as soon as you start getting in there, you start noticing that it's a climb. And then the climb is very subtle, so you don't really know that that's what's happening. And then the hills start disappearing suddenly. And then the air becomes much fresher. There's very little humidity. And then it's not hot at all. That's the best way to get into Jos. You should try that one day.
So for someone who's not visited Jos before, maybe a listener from North Africa and Europe, from the Asias, from the Americas, what would be the amazing thing that welcomes such a person to Jos?
The vegetation, the air, the sights in terms of the arrangements of the hills. It's a plateau. You're going to see a lot of funny rock formations that are actually breathtaking. Every single time you call the word Jos, it's always going to be synonymous with the word breathtaking.
How long have you done music for now?
Well, as a professional, 23 years.
How has it been?
The musical part has always been good because I love music. It's my thing. My music has come to stay. The business part has not always been good.
How many albums do you have to your credit?
2 so far. Because I didn't really start as an artist. I started as a producer. Then I discovered I could sing in early 2000s. That's when I sang Nabaka.
Chocolate City Music turns 10, and you were the very first artist signed to that label.
4th February 2005.
Well, this is how Audu Mekori told us about his meeting with Jeremiah Gyang. Take a listen.
Jeremiah Gyang was the first guy we signed on Chocolate City. I became aware of his music through a guy called 6 Foot Plus. We got into the conversation. I said, look, I want to meet the guy. And he made a contact. So I called him. I said, we're interested in you. We like what we heard. And we think that we can kind of change the level of what you're doing. Because we think that music like this shouldn't be sitting down and something can be done. There were a lot of problems with Jeremiah Gyang. Here is a Hausa singer trying to break into the mainstream. You're doing gospel, which is not mainstream. You're coming in from the north. So it was a big gamble in terms of it ever really succeeding because he wasn't the first blessed singer from Jos. It just happened to be that, okay, he had some great material at that time. Paul and I drove to Jeremiah's house and we saw one skinny guy sitting down outside. I walked to him and said, hello. He said, yeah, hello. I said, we're looking for Jeremiah Gyang. He said, okay, but who is looking for him? And I said, my name is Audu. He said, I'm Jeremiah. And I just laughed. I said, no, you can't be Jeremiah. He said, I am Jeremiah. He said, let's go to my studio. And it's when we got to the studio and he played some music that I realized that he really was Jeremiah because he looked so small, so skinny, and his voice didn't seem as big and as powerful as it sounded We got talking, we played some music and all that, and we realized right there that we had a very talented person and I wanted to work with him. 2 weeks later, he calls us back and says he's looked at it, but he had some other distribution thing and all that stuff. So we said, no problem, we'll handle that. So because you know that I'm a lawyer as well and we have a law firm, the law firm handled the getting him out of the other contractual problem that he had. And when we got that done, we signed, and that's how we did it. It was Jeremiah that introduced me to MI.
Jeremiah the Waymaker. So that's Audu's version of the story.
Okay.
What's your version?
It is true. 6 Foot Plus called me and told me that some guy wanted to meet me and talk to me concerning my music. I'm like, okay, like 10,000 people have already called me and have been trying to talk to me concerning my music. So I asked him the first and the big question, why aren't you signed to them? And he said, it's you they want, not me. So they came over and they were doubting the authenticity of whether it was me. I noticed they just kept pushing me to actually take them to where my creative process happens, and then I took them there, and then we played some stuff, and then they were really impressed. So the next day, he shot a contract out to me and gave me time to look at it, and I told him about the other contract. I didn't even have any hope that they could do anything. So they came and created an inroad for me in Lagos, made the song what it became in Nigeria and in Africa.
So why would people say that your stay at Chocolate City was short-lived?
You see, like I told you in the beginning, I hadn't an agenda. So it was not about the political statement I wanted to make with my life. When MI came to Chocolate City, he was much more focused. He knew exactly his objective. That's why he would see something and call it an opportunity, and I'll just look at it and say, I'm not really into politics. I don't do stuff like that. And I think that's one of the dumbest things to do on earth, to actually ignore important things like though they're not. Knowledge is power. I did not have the tools to actually really maximize my relationship with Chocolate City. So at some point I started seeing as though they were stifling my music, and then I started making certain choices that I felt were better for me. Like if you look back at the misunderstandings we had, sincerely, I think they were really childish. A lot of stuff I didn't do the right way. But, you know, it's part of life and growth. As a man, you have to own up to your decisions as well. Take responsibility for the choices you make. That's why the relationship didn't work. It's because I wanted out.
If you had to do it all over again?
I wouldn't want out.
Tell us about the Comforter song, because the very first day I heard that song, I said, wow, a blend from the north and from the west, producing something very sizzling.
I just was working on this nice idea I heard in my head based on a pretty girl that I liked. I was trying to write a song about that. I had the chorus, I didn't have the verse, and then Asha happened to be working with me then on another project. She heard this and then she was like, I have an idea. Let's add an angle to this song. And then we tried it and it was beautiful. So I destroyed my verse and I redid it the way that it eventually came out.
Did it actually take so long to tell her?
What's the next thing on that list?
Okay, so here's Jeremiah Gyang and Asha, taken from the Love album, and it's simply titled Comforter Song. I found comfort. I hope you do too.
I wanna sing my life, I gotta do it now. It doesn't matter how it turns out to be. It's burning in my heart, making me go mad. It doesn't matter how it turns out to be. You take me higher. You're the reason why I sing this song. My heart is on fire. It's the reason why I sing this song. You take me higher. This song, my heart is on fire. It's the reason why I sing this song.
Why it took so long, I don't know. 365 days to show. That's the part I really love about that song. Jeremiah, what inspires you?
Many different things inspire me. Could be ranging from a heartbreak to a nice thing. It could be sitting down and reflecting within yourself, and then you just having an epiphany that could bring a lot of inspiration. Yeah. Thing is this, I could read 4 or 5 different meanings to any regular thing you might say. Yeah? So I see one thing 4 or 5 different ways. I love movies. I love romantic movies. I love action comedy. I think life is already hard, so I don't watch horror movies because I feel like it's too depressing. I like stuff that makes me happy. It just kind of creates a route for me to sort of express myself.
So how would you describe your sound? How would you categorize yourself as an artist?
I'm a musician first. I appreciate jazz. Fella's music is really creative. He's one of the most talented artists I know. So is Bob Marley, Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Wonder, Brian McKnight, Babyface, Ella Fitzgerald. You know her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I named my daughter after her.
Oh.
Yeah, because every single time I hear her voice, it gives me a lot of hope and peace in my heart. My music is like an aggregation of everything I've listened to, so I just keep creating fusions. Now, once you come back to Africa, there's this women's fellowship stuff. When I was working on one of my new songs, Ngata, I had to bring them into the studio and work with them because I love that stuff. But you need to hear it in a context to actually appreciate it. African music is about repetition. Now, the thing is to maximize it in such a way that it will not become a nuisance to the ear, but we would want you to keep playing it over and over. So if you listen to my Nabaka song, now my Nabaka song came out that way.
What was the title of your first album?
Nabaka.
Year?
2004.
The Love album?
2012.
Why did you choose Scales to work with on the Kona Allah song?
Scales was really, really promising, and he was very gifted, determined and passionate and hardworking. By the time I met him at 15, he had already recorded maybe like 30 songs. I'm like in the studio, and then every single song I'd listen to, I would hear him singing, I would hear him actually rapping as well. I was like, wow, this kid is just going places to happen. So I felt the best I could do was to do a song together with him. And the reason why Kana Allah, it's because I have never really been fully satisfied with the way the song was recorded. I always wanted to hear the rock, the soft rock thing in the song, not very hard rock, but soft rock. Almost like Linkin Park, the one they did with Jay-Z, right? The verses were really soft, so beautiful, where you would come to the stanza and hear a very spiritual sounding voice. You could hear the depth and the passion in that voice. That was a feel I wanted to create. I had a picture for that song, but I was never really satisfied. I wanted to make a version for myself, so that was the version that I was actually finally satisfied with.
The one with Scales.
Yes.
Okay, let's see how satisfied our listener would be after listening to this version with Scales. Jeremiah and Scales, Kona Allah.
Was hanging out alone with no one, I was helpless. I didn't care about it so much, cause all I had with me was a dream. And it was so beautiful. Now I realize you were standing there. Cause even when I thought that no one was around, now I understand that you came as a dream. This dream has made my life so beautiful.
So I'm sorry you don't get to hear the Scales part, but I'm sure online, if you search for it,
you can actually type Karnala featuring Scales MP3 on Google, and you're going to get.
What's your view of the Nigerian music industry?
We have an industry, but it's not working the way it should. Eventually, it should start working the way that industries do.
What could we put in place to ensure that it works the way it would be mutually beneficial for everyone?
Justice. See, capitalism has its weaknesses as well, because capitalism makes every single thing about profit. You need to practice capitalism within a just stratosphere. Because if there's no justice, then you are going to trample on other people just to accomplish your objectives. And that's exactly where you don't want to be. For instance, it's whoever has the plenteous money that everyone's going to listen to. The number of DJs that promote music for the quality of the music is going down drastically because the people that have money have saturated the market. So you need regulations that would actually ensure that people that do good music, simple example, I work with an orchestra. The music is good and I'm playing it and people be like, this is not going to sell. Why? Because this is not what's hot right now. I'm not trying to make music that's hot right now. I'm trying to make music that you can listen to when you don't want to listen to what's hot right now. For instance, I'm trying to imagine like a Celine Dion in Nigeria. You understand what I'm saying? But then in America, people actually do listen to Celine Dion. We need justice, a very just and fair system, sort of like a socialist system as well. So we need them to work concurrently, both the capitalism and the socialist approach to all work together. That should be one of the main principles of government, regulation. Yeah.
Tell us about the song Dangata.
Well, you see, I just figured that no matter how powerful you are on earth or wealthy, when or if the day of death comes, you die and leave everything here. Consequently, there's a bigger life. There's something more important in the other side than at this given place or point. So I just feel like my inheritance is actually more in heaven than it is here on earth.
What does Dangata mean?
Child of privilege or favored child or favorite child.
Okay. So Jeremiah Gyang, Dangata,
yes,
out here for you. Dangata there rendered in Hausa language, spoken by the people of northern Nigeria and in other parts of the world. Jeremiah, thank you so very much for starring on this edition of Music Makers. It took 4 years to get to you, but it was worth every year I waited to get to you. To know more about Jeremiah Gyang, where do we look?
Facebook /Jeremiah Gyang, Twitter /Jeremiah Gyang, Instagram /Jeremiah Gyang,
Tell us about the song Stay With Me.
Well, it's after realizing how much God has been good to me and how much I have failed in my capacity to be good to God as well. And I just came to God and told him I'm sorry, and I know that he still loves me. I just wanted to say that I need him to stay with me and not give up on me. The song is sort of like to acknowledge that all of that has been happening, and then to say that I actually really need you, Lord, to stay with me, because I feel like I can be the best version of myself if the Lord is with me at all times.
Jeremiah, thank you very much once again for starring on this edition of Music Makers. On behalf of my sound manager, Jimo Nojumudin, my name is Glory OHAGWU, and I leave you with Jeremiah Gyang singing Stay With Me.
Heavenly Father, I am sorry, I have sinned, gone far from you. Please forgive me, set me free, yeah. Restore me to the Garden of Eden. Stay with me today. My Father, please don't let me go.